Good morning. I'm Malcolm Nance, and welcome to Black Man Spies Easter edition of the U.S.-Iran war day, let me count it, 38. We're on the 38th day of the United States at war with Israel against Iran. And I am happy to announce that this calm Easter morning, nothing has let up since yesterday. And look, I hope you guys are going to get all caught up. We're going to try to do this within an hour, because I know many of you want to get out to your Easter brunches. I, for one, am not going to an Easter brunch, but I will start partaking in bellinis and mimosas because it's going to be that kind of day. Also, I've got a book to edit in one day. So, I may just sit with a bottle and get drunk. That being said, let me introduce my co-host on this show, Jacob Kaarsbo, Danish Middle Eastern intelligence officer. Welcome back from your luxury French, Swiss, Italian ski vacation. You got the last snow of the season, didn't you?
Exactly, and that's why I'm working hard now. No Easter lunch for me. So hard work, but back in the grind.
Well,
I'm just
good.
sorting out a map of Iran here behind me. So that's why I'm clumsy, and my coffee machine wasn't quite ready because I've been on vacation, but I just managed to finish it.
Yeah, good. All right. And also is Wajeeh, the gay lion. Hello, Wajeeh. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm alive. Was reporting minute by minute yesterday on the thing until they found the pilot. And I'm very grateful that they have found the pilot. There are so many things happening. I feel like there is a big lid on all of this event. We're gonna get into it.
Oh, we're going to get into it. That is absolutely for certain. And so, but Jacob, I just wanted to let you know I have a photo that I want to share with you at some point. Yes, 10 days ago, when I was still in Montreal, we had the last snow of the season. And with that last snow of the season came, it was really heavy. We had a lot of snow in a week, and that's Montreal. It's wintry there, but we had a boatload of snow. And as you know, I've been practicing this winter my randonnée cross country, which are two different things, right? Randonnée and cross country skiing. And now I was testing out some military skis, of which I have some as a gift for you. So next time I'm in Denmark, I'm going to bring you these skis. And my favorite part about this ski story is when I took it to the Canadian ski shop in Saint-Sauveur, the first thing the guy goes, he goes, "Oh, these are U.S. military skis." And I go, "Oh, yeah, you know these?" He goes, "Yeah, they're Canadian." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, look." And sure enough, brand new skis in package with made in Canada down the side. He goes, "Oh, these are excellent skis." The ones they had before were trash. They were made in the States. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I got these nice skis. I have these new finish bindings on them, and they are excellent. And if I can find the photo here, here it is. And I got this specially for you because while I was in Denmark, I found this hat. I found this hat in Copenhagen. Let me give everybody a good look here because, before we start the serious stuff, here is my Jacob. This is, I went to Denmark and all I got was a crazy Viking winter hat. And trust me, I ski in this hat now, right? The Black Viking of Copenhagen strikes again.
Exactly.
I just want to point out to you, you can see this is a half a meter of snow. I mean, that was just 10 days ago. It's starting to melt off now. Spring has come in. You know, I've got my nice new Finnish ski bindings and everything. I just thought you would have a grand old time seeing that.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic.
so we all got in some skiing this year. Wajeeh, you're going to have to come up to Montreal and we'll take you out because
I've never been skiing, but I would love to.
I actually have a certificate I got to try to get exchanged for snowboarding lessons. I didn't get it. And so that was that I have to get. I'll bring you up to Saint-Sever, which is in the Laurentian Mountains, which is all ski resorts. Every little village is a ski resort, going all the way out to Mont Tremblant.
Wajeeh, I will tell you this. My son tried the sandboarding when we were in when we were in Dubai back in
That's
when he was
dangerous.
when he was 8. I have a fantastic photo of him like he was 8 years old going down.
Yeah, you know
So,
what?
like, when we don't have the highest hill to ski down from the sand, we usually grab a carpet, have a hole in it, tie it to the truck, and like half of the truck like in there. And we're like in the back in the sand.
All right. Okay, well, now that we always josh a little bit before this show so that we let people sign on. We have about 1,100 people now. So let's go into it. I want to push casualty count down. I've noticed it really hasn't changed. So we're going to leave the casualty count where it was yesterday. Wajeeh, do you still have that image from the Al Jazeera live tracker?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, we'll bring that up in a minute because, of course, we have very significant activity that I want to discuss and analyze. We don't just talk about the things that are here. We are all intelligence professionals, or in Wajeeh's case, a geopolitical and cultural intelligence professional. Although we don't use the word intelligence for him because that can get him killed. But he is a geopolitical analyst who really knows his space. And we want to get into this discussion. So most of the casualty counts have stayed the same. Is it still for around 2,076?
Yes, you have 2,076 killed and 26,500 injured. I definitely think that number is much, much higher, especially after last night's operation.
Yes,
Um,
it's
and
going to be.
it is going to be much, much higher. You have 16 killed in Qatar, 12 killed in UAE, 190 injured. 3 killed in Oman hasn't changed, 15 injured. 2 killed in Saudi Arabia, 22 injured. Bahrain, you have 3 killed. Kuwait, 7 killed. Jordan, 29 people killed. Syria, 4 people killed. Iraq, 109 people killed. Lebanon, 1,345 people killed. 4,040 people injured. And then Cyprus, there was someone that got killed in there, but I don't know. I don't have that. We don't have the number for that yet. Palestine, 4 people killed, 24 people killed in Israel, and 6,594 people injured. The United States says that it has 13 people killed and 200 people injured. But as of yesterday morning, I had sources telling me 366 injured. And as of yesterday, I think all of these numbers have gone up, and we don't have latest numbers because the US government hasn't confirmed anything yet.
Okay.
Exactly. And Wajeeh, just one question, because I know Al Jazeera puts it on there. When was these figures last updated?
Last Friday.
These figures was last updated April 3rd.
Okay, so that was
Yeah, that was Friday.
Okay, Friday. Okay, we'll see.
All right. That being said, so that's the casualty count. Next, of course, is the cost of the price of oil. And the reason that we do this second before significant activities is, of all wars, this next to the overthrowing of the Shah of Iran in 1952. This is really 100% about oil. No, Donald Trump says it out loud that he wants to control 40%, 1/4 of the world's oil. Says it out loud, repeats it. So with all of you who keep coming into my timeline and going, this isn't about oil. Yeah, it's about oil. So, and control of oil, same as Venezuela. What are the prices that we have? They should be relatively frozen. I'm looking at West Texas Intermediate at $111.54, Brent crude at 109, Murban crude at 114. Those are still the same since Friday. Boy, howdy, tonight, when Asia starts opening up, it's going to be Katie bar the door, because all the crazy stuff that is coming on the geopolitical level and with operations that are taking place in Iran are going to shoot the price of oil. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Brent break 125, 130 tomorrow morning, and the spot crude. By the way, I read spot Brent North Sea crude right now, this minute, which means the physical barrels, if you can get your hands on them, is at $140 per barrel. So there's a markup. And to give you an idea of just how much money that is, a spot barrel of oil coming out of the Persian Gulf this very minute is about $160 a barrel. So, that's amazing. Let me see. I just want to do a quick calculation here that there is today, and we'll talk about that. You can turn that around, Wajeeh. There are ships moving through the Persian Gulf today, through the Strait of Hormuz, and one of those ships, just one of them, okay, is carrying 1.6, I can't even get that right, $160 million of oil. One ship today
do we know where it's going?
much oil on it. Had that much was the value of that ship going through the SOH, right?
Do we know where it's going?
Yes, I do. I'll talk to you about that in a minute.
Okay.
So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to stick to oil for a moment. Go ahead, Watch.
Well, Iran gave Iraq green light for passing through their Hormuz Strait, which allowed the Iraqi oil to start flowing through that. Pakistan has permission to pass through there. India has permission to pass through there. China has permission to pass through there. Russia has permission to pass through there. Guess who doesn't have permission to pass through there?
Well, you'll be happy to know we have more on that front, because under oil, I'm going to start reporting all of the activities related to oil, because it's really, this war is just two wars. It's a kinetic military war, and then there is a full-scale oil war, which is funny because when I was in high school back in the 1970s, I played a board war game. It was a map war game called Oil War. And it really wasn't about, it was about seizing oil fields. This is about affecting the price of oil on an international scale so that every country is impacted by it, right? It's not about letting anybody loose. So, that being said, Iran waged a full-scale oil war yesterday against all the Western Gulf states. First places that they hit, Bahrain, Citra petrochemical plant was struck again yesterday. That's the third time this week that oil refinery has been hit. And I want to show you the video of this strike because they used a very, very unique warhead. I think that this is a cruise missile. They're saying that it's a ballistic missile. I don't think so. The angle is too shallow. Let me see if I can expand it within the screen. And this warhead, which you can see coming down to the left there, actually explodes over the refinery, putting shrapnel all over the refinery. This warhead was clearly designed to inflict a lot of damage over sensitive piping and things like that, or around munitions where it would explode. So take a look at this. It explodes before it gets there, and then the secondary warhead plows in and hits that refinery. That was hit this morning. This is Bapco at Citra Island. Unhealthy, right? So apparently the Iranians, who they keep telling me have no missiles, no drones, and no ballistic missiles, are doing a very good job of hitting this refinery every day. There is a very, we talked about this, there's a cultural and religious geopolitical reason Bahrain's oil refinery keeps getting hit. Wajeeh, what is it?
Back in the day, Bahrain had a huge import of labor workers from Iran that got their citizenship and naturalized, and became a huge part of the Bahraini identity. So there's a huge block of Iranian Bahrainis who are living in there and who have been getting oppressed on a regular basis. The last most famous one was during the Arab Spring, when they were coming out asking for some rights, including the freedom of speech and democracy. Saudi Arabia sent their special forces into Bahrain and gunned down essentially the Shias until they put them back into their houses or sent them back to jail. There's a long history of violence between the GCC and Iranian Bahrainis, and so there's a lot of tension between Iran and Bahrain regarding that particular situation. But because you mentioned the oil tanker, I think you would agree with me. Iran seems like they have the economic escalation dominance in this game.
They are. They do. And
That's
they
their
are
leverage.
exercising it. Yeah, go ahead.
That's their leverage.
And I just find it fascinating because the pressure they're applying, it's like Chinese pressure points. They aren't going to whack you in the head. They are just coming up and they're hitting this pressure point and you suddenly lose blood, right? And you get all woozy. I'm going to hold off on the oil. I want to have that discussion under the Iran attacks because let's get to the significant activity of the day. Everybody wants to know what happened with the F-15E pilot, the WIZO, the weapons system officer who was um, the weapons system officer who was shot down over Iran 2 days ago, managed to become, as I say, when I was a survival, evasion, resistance, and escape instructor, when you're shot down, you hit that ejection seat, you're no longer a pilot or a wizzo. Your job changes, and you change into a survivor evader. That's your job, right? And you have to go down there, take your pilot helmets off because that pilot helmet isn't going to help you very much. You actually supposed to keep it with you for warfighting. Get your survival kit out, and then you better start moving to a safe, secure location so rescue forces can come and get you. Hundreds and hundreds of people thousands technically, were looking for him. So he evaded for 2 days, and then a special operations mission, a very large scale one, was set into motion, which involved a lot of moving parts. We had been watching these aircraft. I will show you this aircraft called the HC-130 Combat King aircraft, which is what we had been seeing in flight refuel the HH-60 pararescue helicopters. And this is a C-130 aircraft based on the C-130 propeller-driven transport. It is highly modified, and this aircraft is a in-flight refueler and a Pathfinder aircraft designed specifically for pararescue missions and personnel recovery. This falls under the U.S. Air Force Special Operations Command, AFSOC, the Air Commandos. And it has some unique features. It can refuel aircraft from a a drogue chute that comes out of there and connects to helicopters and gives them more fuel. It can also lead them to where they got to go. It has this big satellite communications dome on it, and on the front, it has that giant multi-mission radome on the front of the ANP 241 radar, which allows it to fly at very low altitudes and let the radar actually fly the plane up and down over mountains. It can fly in any weather condition. And it was optimized after Afghanistan. We actually had a C-130 fly right into the side of a mountain. And these radars were optimized for high altitude, bad weather terrain. It's a very advanced aircraft. So we were using these HC-130 Combat King aircraft to bring in a special missions group. Based on what I can discover about it, I've been reading The War Zone by Tyler Rogaway. That's a great website, TWZ, The War Zone. If you ever want really unbelievable details, go to that website. You can read that, read all about this rescue. But some things were reported that made me go, as you know, I have a history in this. Although I wasn't in Air Commando, that's for dang sure. My job for 5 years was to train pilots, SEALs, airmen, aircrew how to escape and evade and resist captivity, and then how to behave once in captivity by a hostile government, by terrorists, and by when you become a prisoner of war. Thank God that didn't happen this time. But
We got
the
very
rescue
lucky.
mission had some very unique components to it that I find very interesting. They said that 2 aircraft put down in what we call a FARP, an FARP, a forward rearm and refueling point. This is a clandestine FARP where these aircraft had pre-positioned and they had figured out there was a flat space that they could land, very few people around them. They could land aircraft and most likely pull out 2 of these MH-6J helicopters, little birds. And if any of you have seen the movie Black Hawk Down, you will know what that helicopter is. Hold on, I have a picture of it here. The Little Bird helicopter is that tiny little helicopter, carries 2 air crew and 4 special operations soldiers. Those aircraft cannot fly 350 miles because that's the distance from Kuwait to this location, almost 600 kilometers. But we can bring them inside a Combat King helicopter, and you can roll them out, open the props, spin them up, and then they will fly short distances, low and fast, land where the pilot is, bring the pilot out, and bring him back to the forward rearm refueling point. There's a lot of components to this. If this apparently is what they did. Usually you got to bring Rangers with you to secure the area. You've got to bring, combat controllers. These are AVSOC guys who literally control you like a runway from backpack radios. Usually we have a combat weather guesser, right? A weatherman who's there as well. We have Air Force PJs, pararescue men, parajumpers who are there to help bring in and secure the pilot. We may even have special operations medics from Delta Force or whoever the extraction force is. In this instance, it was Delta Force, right? We always use the tier 1 guys for extreme high risk of capture operations. So they all came down, made a tiny little airport there, flew out, got that guy who it said was severely wounded. And I suspect he was severely wounded from when the aircraft exploded and shrapnel hit him because he was in the back seat when the engines blew up. You sent that video to me. I'm going to play that here in a bit. And so he
I think
evaded.
I think you said several days ago that 2 days ago that the reason we might not have heard from him is because he might have been knocked out, and he's just like
Well,
not awake.
worse than knocked out, he may have been injured, right? And apparently he was. He may have, I don't know. The details haven't come out, but I've studied, when I was chief of resistance training at the Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape School in Coronado, one of the things that I had access to was the entire classified history of every person ever shot down in the Navy and Marine Corps ever. In fact, we had survival debriefs going back to, get this, the French and Indian Wars. We had in our survival library, including women who had been captured and scalped and all sorts of crazy things. It was all about the captive environment. And so, like, I read John McCain's original flimsy copy debrief when he came out of the Hanoi Hilton about how he was shot down. How did he get captured? From his perspective. So we gained a lot of information from that. One of the things we're going to learn from that is what happens when you're on the silk, right? When you are coming down from in a parachute, right? Your mindset has to shift to survivor evader, but you're injured. First thing you got to do is you got to get yourself to where you can maneuver. You can actually crawl away, drag yourself away, get away from that chute, cover yourself with that chute. Usually those chutes are white and orange. We also now have white, green, and orange so that you can camouflage yourself at the same time. So that was that guy's job. Getting him to a point where he could be extracted while thousands of people look for him was the job of the Commander Combat Search and Rescue Task Force, using every intelligence resource in the world. That guy has access to everything. Geospatial, drones, and they assign it to him. Yes, Jacob.
Yeah, let us just show for the viewers where it happened. It was right here.
Oh, yeah.
Just south of Isfahan. You have Tehran up there, Isfahan here, and in the mountains right southwest of Isfahan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And just outside of Isfahan. Tells me where he was bombing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have a 16 second video that kind of give an idea of like the video of fleet of cars that have been. I can just show you guys real quick.
Yeah. And that's what's going to happen when you go down, right? A conga line of cars are going to come, privately owned vehicles. Everybody's got rifles looking for you. And this is the bad guys looking for him. Well, not the bad,
Look at
the
this.
opponents.
You see all these lights? This
Row upon rows.
they're wanting the $60,000. Iran has a bounty of $60,000. It's life changing there.
I don't know if you guys have ever gone hunting. I hunt, and let me tell you another thing. There's also the "this will be fun" factor, where all the guys grab their guns and they just start hunting for you, right? Do not forget that. Yeah, money may be involved, but also bringing out the wine, the beer, and presenting guys going out and doing their Gucci gun fashionista routine. Let's go get that guy. That is a component of being a survivor evader. We teach people this very specifically. People that will hunt for you aren't going to be the professionals. People who have the best chance of finding you aren't going to be the army. It's civilians who are like, well, let's go. This will be fun. This is like catching rats. They bring their fucking falcons in Iraq. They did. They bought falcons, right? Just to go out. I mean, it's like you're a rabbit. So this is a big component of getting you to move. Move away from where your datum of where your aircraft is and where you have come down on the silk, right? So that being said, these combat talent aircraft went out and set up a FARP, a forward arm and refuel point, which was a tiny little secret airbase. Somehow, the two aircraft that were sent out, these two HC-130 transports that were sent out, totaling, oh, by the way, these aircraft are the most sophisticated transports on the Earth, other than the AC-130 gunship. because these aircraft somehow became disabled. And don't tell me they became disabled because you shut the engines off and the APU, the auxiliary power unit, didn't work and you just couldn't get them engines up. Don't tell me that. Okay? I've been around this game way too long, right, to know that when an aircraft lands and it can't take off, that means something has made it not take off. Especially when you're talking not one, two of them, right? Can I point out to you this aircraft cost $97 million each? Additionally, they brought two MH-6J Little Bird helicopters with them, which I believe were sent as a disposable capacity. So these HC-130s land, they find an austere piece of dirt, they land, they pull out the little birds take off with Delta, they go out, they snatch this guy, right? They get him out, they hosed everybody else around them, which means there's gunships out there, strike aircraft out there, drones out there. We put what we call a strike circus around your head. Shout out for that phrase to Dieter Dengler from the Vietnam War. That's what he called it. 100 aircraft circling over his head, trying to keep the bad guys off of him. And then they get him out. They come back to the FARP, and lo and behold, that aircraft that has a crew of maybe 8 air commandos, maybe 25, 50 Rangers, because you got to have a big Ranger force around there. May have a couple of Jeeps in there at the same time, suddenly can't take off to the point where you've got to call for 3 additional combat commandos to come and land. And they do come and land, and they get everybody out. Then what happens next is this. This picture I'm going to show you comes from the ministry. It came from the Iranian foreign minister, who claims that they destroyed those aircraft, which I sort of believe our version of it, which was that the aircraft somehow could not take off. Let me find this for you. And that they were destroyed in situ, which means on the spot. Here's a video of what remains of that HC-130 to HC-130
So for
aircraft.
the listeners, you're saying that because it wasn't able to fly back again, the U.S. military destroyed it.
Yes. Now, if
And
some of you may be thinking,
thoroughly.
yeah, completely. We demoed those aircraft. Some of you who are my age may remember in 1979, we conducted an operation in Iran to rescue all the hostages being held in, oh, look at that, in Iran. The name of that mission was Operation Eagle Claw. That mission was landing C-130 aircraft in the desert to rearm and refuel U.S. Navy MH-53 Sea Stallion helicopters, which were going to fly into Tehran, land in a football field, right? And armed Delta Force the first Delta Force commandos were going to go in and extract the hostages, fight their way through the city of Tehran, go to a major football field, get these hostages into that football field, and fly them out of the city. Operation Eagle Claw. It failed when a regular old C-130, back then there were no special operation C-130s, a regular old C-130 in this secret base hit each other in a sandstorm. For those of you who are my age, you remember this happening, and it crashed and blew up, killing 8 American service members. And the mission was such a disaster. I'm not saying this current one was. I just want to give you historical importance. The mission was such a disaster that we had to abandon all of our aircraft there in the desert. The MH-53s and the dead bodies of the 8 Marines, Navy and Marine pilots who were in the C-130s when the accident happened. Here's a historical photograph, right? I know every person since the beginning of Special Operations time, which was this day, that's when U.S. Special Operations Command began, right? With that disaster, that they have feared this happening again. And I think to make sure it didn't happen again, we blew those aircraft the fuck up, right? Here's my take on this. A successful hostage rescue. Little birds come back to the FARP. They get to the FARP. There has been a contact, or these aircraft were hit in flight. Once on the ground, they realize they are non-operable. They fly in 3 more combat Talons. They bring out everybody. They abandon the 2 C-130s, 2 HC-130s, and the 2 little birds and demo them. So the Iranians get this. To the Iranians, it looks like they destroy the aircraft. No, you didn't destroy the aircraft. This is what we do when shit is damaged. We get rid of it. Case in point, the Bin Laden raid, right? We lost a stealth Black Hawk helicopter. We left it there, and that's what happened. Now, the Iranian foreign minister is claiming Iranian forces shot these down. No, they didn't. But it is possible that the Iranians damaged them enough that they couldn't take off. The only other reason that I can say that we did this, that those aircraft couldn't take off, I'm going to give Wajeeh the honor of guessing what factor is always present in the Middle East that could have damaged those aircraft and prevented them from taking off. Well, I talk about it every day. What is it? What do you think? What?
Sand.
No, not sand. Jacob, you ever guessed?
I thought it
But
was
I tell
sand.
you could go, oh, yeah.
And for fun, I was just going to say a camel spider. But
no, not camel spider. They're too small. Even though they get big, they're too small. No. You know what it is? Goats.
What?
Goats.
It's always goats. It's always goats, baby. I don't. You know what? That's my test.
If
for
you can't
people,
find
right?
a plausible
Tell me whether you've actually
explanation,
been
it's
there
the
or not.
fucking goat.
You're a C-130. You guys have you've had an HH-60 Pave Hawk helicopter has landed. It has done a dry run across that field. They have found 1,000 feet of flat land for you. No trees, no obstacles, no scrub brush, right? The combat controllers get out. They put out infrared strobes on that runway. And he's sitting there and he's like, okay, Sky Slaughter 1, this is Combat Controller 2. You are clear for landing. There are no obstacles on the runway. And this big C-130 comes landing and he goes, "Rrrr," and he starts landing 1 and 2, one after another, right? And he gets down there and he's about to make touchdown on approach. And then suddenly all the noise will scare a goat who's in a tree eating leaves. And he'll go, yalla, and he'll jump up and he'll go right across the runway and bang, he hits a goat. And then as the goat carcass flips off, the goat screams as the first aircraft is damaged and is taxiing away. All the other goats jump out the tree and the second aircraft damages it. Now, as funny as this sounds, this has happened. So there's very little that I briefed to you that hasn't happened somewhere. Very plausible. So now they're like, well, Jesus, we got FOD, we got foreign object debris in our engines by smacking into goats that were on a tree. Or let's be honest, they have been flying very low. Every guy, what did I say yesterday? Everyone and their dog was out there with their rifles. So they got a golden beaten. They got close, and then there was probably a gun. There may have been a gun battle in the vicinity of that austere strip they could have been damaged, and we just decided better to get new airplanes and leave these.
I think some of the videos coming out of the area also shows that there have been gun battles and stuff in the
Yeah.
vicinity. So
Well, that's what we're hearing, is that there was some intense firefighting.
yeah.
I have a picture of those aircraft on the deck that apparently was taken by the Iranians before those aircraft blew up. Remember, this is the two things you will now find in the Middle East that I can guarantee you is there, right? Number one, goats and kids. And number two, goats and kids with a mobile phone.
Yeah.
And there, I'm looking for it now, but if you could, maybe you can find it, Wajeeh. There is a photograph of those aircraft on the ground, to both of them,
Yeah,
before they got blown up.
I don't have. I have the a video of the aircraft falling down, and I also have a video of the gunfire from U.S. aircrafts on the ground fighting the Iranians who are getting very close, who were getting very close to the U.S. pilot.
Yeah, here it is. I found the picture. Let me put this up for everybody. Kids with goats with cameras. Okay,
Oh yeah.
if you can't see it, somebody's like, "Hey, Hussein, look, airplanes!" And then the next thing you hear is, "Bam." So this is how I joke about this. They teach this now. This is how you will be compromised. You will be compromised by kids with goats with now mobile phones that can take videos. But those aircraft are intact. Those aircraft, after we demoed them and left, right? Can I point
I
out to
noticed
you?
I noticed one
What?
thing, Malcolm, and that is,
Yes.
the topography, etc. It doesn't really match that photo of the destroyed planes that's also been circulated.
Well, that depends on the angle
It
that you're at, but
yeah,
this has got
it
some
could be
serious
the
mountains behind
angle.
it.
It could be the angle, etc. But just what I've noticed is there could be some stuff out there that that
Yep.
could be dubious. I
Well,
don't know, but I think
I just want to
overall it's correct.
I can tell you one thing right now, all right, having lived over there for decades, uh, right here. What time is it, gentlemen?
Sunrise or sunset? Sunrise.
Look at those colors. That's sunrise. Barely
That's sunrise.
sunrise. For
Yeah.
those aircraft to be there at this time of day tells you how long that mission went. We do that shit in the dark, right?
Yeah.
When it's like, because we have this phrase in mountaineering, right? Turnaround time, turn back time. When you get to turn back time and you push it, you die. When turn back time in special operations is sunrise. You better be on your way flying into with the sun lighting you up from the rear. Well, can I show you Bernie time to blow up the airplanes? That's daylight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And that was probably just after they exploded and the other three aircraft took off. So this thing went all night. I think it's an awesome movie. I think it's an incredible rescue mission. But we now need to look at this within the context of everything else that was going on, how it's going to impact this war. Because, hold on, I just want to see if there's any more of these images. And, I'm a little surprised we didn't use a C-17. This, by the way, is
Yeah.
one of those aircraft coming in. I like this video. I saw this morning. Because guess what? Guess what this kid is doing when this plane comes screaming by? Listen carefully. Do you guys hear it? Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Y'all don't hear that jingle, jingle, jingle? I'll play it some more and tell me what you hear.
Oh, yung ginagawa ni. Don't hurt us.
Kids with goats and a
Yeah.
camera.
Goat hurt us.
It never fails. Never fails. This is what kills me. I get these guys because there's all these Call of Duty commandos out there.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got firepower, you got gunships, and we got dudes. Right? Like South Park mimics Pete Hegseth. Yes, there is a reason that old goats like myself, right? We have cultural intelligence, right? And you're the guys we like, we're going guns forward, hoo-yah, hoo-yah. And it's just like, the motherfuckers got goats, right? And we're like, well, what does that mean? And it's all the old guys, the old chiefs who were SEALs or special forces, first sergeants and sergeant major, be like, oh shit, goats. You know, they will compromise you and they will walk right up to you and they will have a kid with a camera now. That's the only thing that's changed since my time, is that every kid has a camera now. And now Iranian intelligence is probably going to feed. Yeah, I'm just saying they got a feed where they're just like, look for the kids with goats. You know? And it's like, oh, open source intelligence now. Okay. Enough fun with the pilot rescue. We've got all sorts of people out there taking credit for this. That within the context of this war is important. But let's talk.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you guys. I talk a lot, but let's talk more about this. What is the implication of this rescue within the context of this continuing war?
I think it tells us something about the Iranian capacities. That the new dangers that the U.S. and the Air Force need to deal with, because we've often talked about Trump's hubris, and again, this is probably also a sign. But then again, Trump might be so wound up because of all this that what will he do next? He'll make good on his threats on Truth Social from was it last night or yesterday
This
afternoon?
morning.
Yeah,
Early
I'm on
morning.
European time, so but anyway, it might push him to that invincible idea once again, and that'll really get the U.S. into more trouble, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm. Wajeeh.
I think the United States citizens have lost their patience. I think that's one of the biggest implications. We did not see any actual preparing for this war, because if they were actually preparing, we would have had a good actual analysis of the anti-air defense missile capabilities that Iran had, and we have prepared for it. We did not listen to our military expert, and in fact, we have fired our military echelons of the U.S. Military, where we got rid of them. Where even if you were going to get rid of them, you would get rid of them before the war, not during the war, which is kind of a crazy thing to do. We yeah, we are no longer in control of this war. Iran has proved that we don't have air dominance of Iran. They have showed us that they are in control of the economy. And at this point, we have wasted $500 billion on a lot of BS, and we might have lost a lot of U.S. citizens trying to do this rescue missions, because America doesn't leave anyone behind, and the people in uniform will do anything for other people in uniform in the United States to bring them back, even if that means they die. So, and we have someone in the White House that clearly doesn't care about the human life and doesn't care about the soldiers that the United States have. And here's the most important part about all of this. When you lose your most important soldiers and your most trained soldiers, that doesn't make you stronger. You just
Mhm.
lost some of your key assets and you have become weaker. How do you
Well,
explain this?
well, fortunately for us, we haven't lost a lot of our best soldiers, but there is a possibility here that this rescue, which has a lot of Maduro-like components to it, will make Trump in love with special operations again. Right? And it was looking like, they couldn't really be used. Granted, we know that there were special operations in Iran. We actually create forward rearm and refuel points like this for a reason, so that we can lily pad in and out. And like I said, this was a conventional recovery. Okay, a conventional recovery is when you fly in air commandos and special operations soldiers, and a PJ comes, a parajumper comes and puts his hands physically on you and goes, "Hey, are you Joe Blow? Okay, great, let's go." Oh, off we go into an airplane. They could have used unconventional recovery, which I said would have been a Toyota Corolla taxi, which has got an Israeli and an American spy in there, right? And two other guys with their rifles pretending like they're coming out to hunt for that pilot. And they know where he is, right? And they stumble onto him, put him in the car, dress him up like he's part of the hunting party, and they put the loud music on and they drive away. That stuff happens. But I'm glad that this is over because one, it shows we do have good capacity. But two, the thing that I worry about the most is, and this is what I said yesterday, they have a taste for blood now.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
everyone's going to be hunting for you guys. Anything that flies low is getting it. So I just hope that now this is not why Trump's latest tweet, which we will shift to the next one, crazy shit Trump has said, which impacts this story. Let me see if I can bring up the photo.
It's a very short. It's a very short tweet. A
Well,
very
there's a
short
couple of
post.
them that I want. Okay, here it is. This came out this morning. Lord, this is crazy. All right, I'll read it in Trump
Yeah.
voice. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. This is Trump. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. President Donald J. Trump. Some of you, will
Wait,
one of you
is
please
that for
go
real?
and look
This is
on Truth
really.
Social and tell me that that is a fake tweet? Because if
Please
that's
tell
not
me
a
this is
fake
fake.
tweet, if that's not a fake tweet, guys, guys, let's just be straight up. We're all professional
Yeah.
intelligence analysts here, right? Let's just be straight up. If we're all intelligence watch officers, that somebody goes in and goes, "Hey, crew, just got this from the White House," you would be going, somebody needs to lock that bitch up. All right.
Yeah.
25th Amendment, right goddamn now. He just on Easter, the day in which you're supposed to be celebrating the people who believe Jesus Christ was resurrected from the dead after crucifixion, right? And he rises to absolve you all of your sins. And this is how you start off by, I think war crimes would be a good idea. I think alienating every damn person who wanted to have an uprising against the regime should be alienated. I think naughty language for breakfast should be used, and I think I should insult every Muslim that is doing business with me right now and put my name on it. Help me, guys.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, well, it's real short. I mean, it's Nixon's madman theory in practice. Just this isn't about nukes, as far as we know, but it's really crazy
No,
shit.
I don't think it's madman. I think he's playing freaking Deadpool. Okay, he thinks double fingers up, right? You know, what has the song go? 2 guns, 12 rounds, everybody
Yeah.
goes down, double fingers up. Watch you. Ya Allah said me.
Listen, I don't understand how a country let a pedophile into the leadership, nevertheless, someone who's wearing a diaper running a country. Uh, the dude doesn't remember where he's at, doesn't remember who he's talking to, doesn't remember half of the plans that he's doing. He tell us in the morning that they're doing regime change, and that night, the same day, he tells us no, they were not doing regime change. They were just doing some, quick in and out. There is actual issue, I believe, with his mental state. Everyone around him understands that, and yet they are keeping it tight. Everyone made a huge fuss about Biden not being all there, yet we're not seeing anything about that. Yet Biden has not put any soldiers' lives on the line, but this fucker is.
Every day. Oh, yeah, but they love it. Bombs, guns, and helicopter fighter jet rides. Okay, well, in response to this,
Yeah.
the Iranian foreign
response.
minister decided to issue a little warning of his own. This is from Galibaf, right? He says, hey,
that's not the foreign minister.
is he the
That's
president,
the head
Speaker of the House?
The Speaker of the House, yeah.
There it is. Okay, the head of the parliament. He goes, and he's considered
Trump loves. The one Trump
yeah,
loves.
supposedly the moderate. He goes, hey, y'all. I added that part. What share of global oil, LNG, wheat, rice, and fertilizer shipments transit the Bab el Mandab Strait? That's off Yemen, by the way. Which countries and companies account for the highest transit volumes through the strait? And you know he wanted to add asking for a friend to the end of that analysis. And that friend would be the Houthis. That is a straight up warning that Iran could call the Houthis in to shut down all of South Asia, Western Asia, for all trade. That would bring the global economy to a crashing halt. It would throw the world into recession. It would break the economy of all of those nations. And you know the Houthis aren't going to go, oh, we're just going to do a few suicide boats in the Bab el Mandab. They will destroy Yanbu, right? The Saudi oil field. And I like to project, because I love Islamic history, they may go crazy enough to make a march on Mecca, right? Something nuts that would throw the entire world into chaos, as well as the oil industry. And not to mention bring Egypt into this war, because Egypt's economy relies on the Strait of Hormuz. And if you can't get to it, you can't do trade through it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how many. Go ahead, Jacob.
Just one more comment on the Iranian reply, because there was a significant reply last night where the Iranians took out in Kuwait, took out a desalination plant, and also struck oil infrastructure. And for me, that's like...
I still haven't gotten it yet.
Okay. Okay.
The crazy shit has to be talked about first. If I could just go back to politics real quick.
Yeah.
Right after Trump tweeted that, Lindsey Graham tweeted this one. Just had a very good discussion with POTUS about his recent statement regarding the consequences to Iran if they do not agree to an acceptable peace. Suddenly, he says, I support diplomatic efforts to end the conflict consistent with our military objective, but takes two to tango. The necessity for military action is weeks, not months, and Operation Epic Fury is well ahead of pace. The hope for me has always been that neutralizing Iran as the greatest state sponsor of terrorism, it will be open to the gateway to peace, allowing, now get this part, Saudi Arabia and Israel to normalize their relationship effectively, ending the Arab-Israeli conflict. If this historic normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel occurs, it will be due to President Trump's bold, decisive leadership in dealing with the Iranian threat so that they can no longer be a spoiler for peace like they were on October 7, 2023. Keep it up, Mr. President. Wind down the war and wind up efforts for a historic peace deal. Guys, I have studied and have been a practitioner in counterterrorism for 40 years. Okay, this rapprochement between Israel and Saudi Arabia is one suicide bomber or pen through the eye away of never happening ever. Okay,
especially after what Trump did.
Yeah, do they think these guys are like, oh, this war, all this impact on us, all of this is so Israel can benefit from this? I have lived on the Arab street. I have prayed with these guys. I have eaten their dates. I got 2 kids named after me. Granted, people want cars and mobile phones and everything, but this is kooky talk. The Saudis may lean in, but they're not going to. They're talking about realigning the Muslim world to be subordinate to Israel that is attacking another Muslim country. There's 1 billion Muslims that are going to have a say about this. And I mean, yeah, great, pie in the sky, but this is Lindsey Graham is clearly, Pete Hegseth talked to Trump this morning. Lindsey Graham talked to him right after he put out his spooky tweet. And we all know we go here in an attempt to get him to, by the way, this goes hand in hand with that crazy map of routing all the Gulf states' oil to freaking Ashdod in Israel. Are these people on crack?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be crack.
And the unfortunate thing, he's my the very unfortunate thing for Lindsey Graham is my fraternity brother. But even in my fraternity, we make fun of him all the time.
You in a woman's fraternity? I had to take that shot.
Anyway, the other day you said find you someone that loves you like Trump loves Putin's ass. I say find you someone that loves you like Lindsey Graham loves Trump's ass. The situation here is very interesting because Lindsey Graham has been calling for he's one of those hawkish people that has been wanting to invade Iran for a very long time. And he's been flip-flopping every time with Trump. But the true reality is that none of these people understand the reality in the ground and wants to bring a very simple solution to a very complicated problem. And when you do that, you always complicate the issue. Regarding the Houthis, I don't know if the listeners know this, but Saudi Arabia was fighting the Houthis for almost 10 years and they were getting their ass kicked in Yemen. And that is one of the top most, spending countries, on military resources, and they were getting assistance from the U.S. government and targeting the Houthis, and ended up having the Houthis in Riyadh doing peace talks with them. So, and last year, Houthis have showed us their capability of shutting down the Bab al Mandab. They have showed us that during the Israel war in Gaza. And they recently said that it is very feasible for them to shut down Bab al Mandab. And if that happens, they don't even need to hit down the oil pipelines. Saudi Arabia has millions and millions and millions of oil facilities hidden inside mountains where it is very hard to hit it as a reserve for emergency. So they have their own resources ready for themselves, that's not the issue. All they need to do is close Bab al Mandab, and all this route would be disrupted. So the strategy is very simple, very easy, and I think that's what they will do. And also, Bab al Mandab is only 13 miles compared to the 30 miles that you have in the Strait of Hormuz. So
Yeah, and
usually,
you saw that they tried to do a landing on Perim Island. I don't know if any of you have been through the Bab el Mandab. I spent a month hunting for Libyan mines in 1984, I guess. I can't remember what year. 84, 85. And I've been down there. Perim Island is an island that actually sits in the Bab el Mandab water. It splits the Bab el Mandab. And the Houthis tried to land on it the other day to take the Bab el Mandab and set up something there, right? Rockets or maybe an IRGC multi-pass toll booth. Getting ready for that, right?
Yeah.
So
But
interesting.
we've also discussed this before, and all this theory that was going on among academics and stuff, that the Houthis didn't want to engage and all that. We are way beyond that. And if Trump escalates now, this is bound to happen, and it's also bound to happen, like I said, with the increased Iranian escalation on the oil infrastructure and desalination plants. I think that's what's to come if Trump carries through his threats.
Okay, well, that's enough for crazy things Trump said. There's some other significant activities we need to talk about. They waged full-scale economic oil war yesterday. The Iranians really hit the Gulf hard, and it was overshadowed by this pilot stuff. Let me just read you a list of things that were hit by the ballistic missiles I keep being told don't exist, right? There was a multi-missile wave on Tel Aviv yesterday, principally with cluster bomb ballistic missiles. Can I point out to you, we're on day 38, and there has not been a day where Israel has not been hit with ballistic missiles or multiple ballistic missiles. Saudi Arabia, ballistic missiles and drones. Kuwait was hit with drones. As a matter of fact, the Al Shuaikh oil refinery at Al Ahmadi, Kuwait was hit. I've been in that refinery. I actually stayed there a couple of days during Desert Storm, along with Saudis who were guarding it.
they also
Interestingly
hit the
enough,
ministry compound.
I'm getting to that. And that one's a unique one. But Shuaik was hit by drones, and then the Kuwaiti Ministry of Oil, I'm pretty sure I have the video of this, was struck by drones launched by Iraqi Hashid Shabi militiamen. It was not launched by
So from
Iran.
two
It was
sides.
launched by Iraqi pro-Iranian militiamen. And here it is. Here's a video. I'll bring that up here in a moment for you to watch, because the Kuwaiti Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Oil were in both. They going after their computer records, and I just want to point out, they are focusing on Kuwait, Bahrain, and UAE.
Yeah.
And I'll show you the video here real quick. That's their super ultra high rise building in downtown Kuwait City burning from the top down after being struck by Iraqi drones launched from Iraq against Kuwait. It's sort of like Belarus being used by the Russians to attack Ukraine. And that's sort of what's going on here. But this could bring all the Heshid Shabi in. Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hearing Gulf nations saying like that Iran is hitting the UAE and Bahrain mostly because they have gotten on the Abrahamic Accord. But do you think it's because they maybe don't have the same military capabilities as Saudi Arabia? What do you
No,
think your
I
take on
think
that?
that we talked about this. By the way, I'm going to show you the building, the beautiful, expensive building, which the Saudis or which the the Iranians and
Wait.
Iraqis have devastated. This is where all their records are, right? This is where the guys in the dish dashes sit, drink coffee all day, and every once in a while tap on the computer keyboard and keep oil flowing out of that country. So they've lost their nice digs and maybe many records. So that is a symbolic attack. I'm okay. We're gonna move on from this after this. I love Islamic history. I wrote a book about the ideology of Islamic cults that led to Al Qaeda and ISIS being the fifth cult in Islamic history. But the second cult in Islamic history was a group called the Kharamita. And the Karamita were Ismailiya Shia who believed that that Hajj, Hajj, going to Mecca and Medina for Hajj, worshiping the Kaaba in Mecca, and the worshiping of saints were all idolatry, right? And this group was headquartered in Basra, what is now the tribes of Kuwait and the tribes of Bahrain. Okay, this is in the 7th century. And they became so powerful, they started attacking and raiding and killing anyone who came from Iran or Asia or Iraq to go on Hajj. They raided all the camel caravans. Then they took a force to Mecca and destroyed Mecca. They razed it to the ground and destroyed the Kaaba, broke the meteorite that was in the Kaaba, and held it for 2 centuries till they were wiped out by, I believe it was the Abbasids. So the Iranians understand that deep first century, first Islamic century Shia influence in Kuwait, as you said, and those workers who came in the 70s and 80s in Bahrain. And they think that they are a fifth column that they can tap. But they can punish those two small countries in a way they cannot punish Saudi Arabia to pressure the United States. Same with Qatar.
Just I have to go now. I'm losing my battery here
Oh,
because we've
okay.
gone over time. But just an important thing for all our
Take us out,
viewers
Jacob.
is that the data shows that the Iranian launching of missiles is going up. Actually, last week was the most missiles were fired since the first week of the war. So it's on an upward trend. Drones on a slightly downward trend, but missiles are going up. And they are targeting Saudi Arabia less now, but more on these three Gulf countries that we mentioned. Not Qatar. Is that some kind of deal Qatar has made with the Iranians? I don't know, but it could be that they're giving the Iranians something instead of giving Trump an Air Force One.
Before you go, there is one specific question to you. If you could just answer that from Denise Watts. Jacob, if Bibi dies soon, will Israel continue this war strategy or move towards negotiated peace? Dies of what? He ain't Trump.
No.
It's not like a Big Mac's going to kill his ass.
One thing I'll be watching for sure, thanks for the question. One thing I'll be watching for sure is the Israeli elections. What's going to happen there? I think to a large extent, Bibi's wanting to go to this war and putting pressure on has got to do with the fact that he sees this as a way to hold on to power. And we'll see how it all works out. I don't think the Israelis are taking the bait, so he might be going to prison instead of dying for his his various his various plays that he has made. Yeah, he's
Okay.
got court cases due to corruption. So that's
Great.
it.
Okay. Jacob, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your Easter with us. I know it's mid-afternoon. You want to go out and get a smorgasbord and
No, I'm cooking lamb. I'm cooking
a
lamb because we have
$25
lamb for
piece of
Easter.
okay, a $25 piece of
Happy.
bread with shrimp and guacamole on it. So,
I got to put the lamb shank into the oven. So,
oh, please,
and
please,
I'll
please
cook
give
it.
give me
I'm
one more moment, Jacob. Somebody sent this image in for you to
okay.
honor you. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I'll have to show it to you tomorrow. Somebody
Okay.
made up a Jacob Kaarsbo beer and a Jacob Kaarsbo coffee. So
Look at that tomorrow,
I'll show it
guys.
to you tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow.
Okay, enjoy your lamb. We'll see you.
Happy Easter, my friend.
Happy Easter,
Happy
guys.
Easter. Okay, Wajeeh, it's just you and me on the questions now. Let's
Let's
take
do it.
everyone's questions and shut this down so everybody can get to those. I really am right now. I don't know why. I don't want a mimosa. I want a Bellini. Maybe it's just the word Bellini. But today,
I
I
don't even
feel
know what
like
the
I've
Bellini is.
earned a Bellini and a nap because I've been up since 3 a.m. looking at all this crazy stuff going on down here. From our friend in Israel, Dan. Good afternoon from Israel. Aerosol drone factory was hit in Petah Tikva again. Yesterday by an Iranian drone ballistic missile landed just next to. Wow. Damage is described as a total loss. Iranians are managed to hit the Negev Indian research zone again. That's Beersheba, right? I have a video of a hit in Beersheba. Damage is unclear. One IDF officer was killed in Lebanon yesterday by friendly fire. Friendly fire is not friendly, people. Okay, I've had friendly fire I've been shot at by the Saudis during Desert Storm. It is neither friendly, but it is definitely fire. You do not want to have that happen. So, Diane K says Al Jazeera breaking news claims the downing of 2 U.S. planes as Trump Hormuz deadline looms. No, I think we just read that the Speaker of the Iranian House Parliament is saying that they shot down those 2 aircraft. Could be. All right. Dan, why do you think you need to see me as an Orthodox rabbi? You should have seen me when I was growing up in Philadelphia. I grew up as a Catholic child in an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. And the first language I learned was Yiddish. And there's a famous story about that I tell on podcasts, and it's in my memoir about how I learned Yiddish off a scrap of a Hebrew newspaper. So you do not need to see me as a rabbi. As an imam, maybe. I've been close to being an imam. What makes those skis military skis? They were military contract to me. Okay, let me see. Yes, Deborah J says, Malcolm, I heard Trump told the satellite companies not to allow any satellite photos online. Is that true? Yes, that is true. The companies that are defying it are Chinese. And there are many companies, for some strange reason, to stay in the good graces of the United States government, is just now no longer allowing images of U.S. strikes or activities around Iran. The problem is they think that Iran is using commercial satellite. Why? When they got a direct feed from China and Russian intelligence, which is giving them really high quality, centimeter wide imagery. They don't need that. And if the Iranians were smart, because they're not stupid, they would have already downloaded an entire scrub of all U.S. bases in the Middle East and are updating it every day. Do not underestimate your opponents, people. They're not stupid. And I've said this for 40 years. They are smart. And so that moment that you underestimate them, they put a $20,000 drone through your $1 billion radar. Right.
And I don't know if you remember, once the decapitation of Ayatollah Khomeini happened, Vilayatullah, what happened is that a whole bunch of strike went straight to the Gulf without any questions, without any uh, orders from any kebabs, because they have had and they have been collecting these areas, and they know their targets ahead of time.
Yep. Okay. Are there any plans to evacuate some of the stranded commercial seafarers yet? I've been reading about that. They're really in bad shape. Charities have been bringing food and stuff out to them on boats. Many of them they come in two flavors out on the high ocean. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a merchant ship. They are usually Indian and Filipinos on those ships. And if you got a Filipino cook, you can cook with anything. So there's hundreds of ships stranded there, and there is no contract for many of them to receive chandlering, right? Chandlering is where they bring you food, supplies, logistics, and what we call hotelier services out to a vessel. Many of these ships are on their own because their contracts aren't being fulfilled when force majeure was declared. So a lot of charities, there's seafarer charities that are giving money and bringing food out to them, but they're starving, many of them, in some instances. Oh, that's a tough one. Let me see. Debbie Gonzalez called me Black Man Viking. That's funny. Um, okay, that's pretty much it for the questions. Wajeeh, last words.
Thank you for having me. I apologize. I haven't written anything for you guys today yet. But we were very busy yesterday covering the war, especially with real time intelligence. But happy Easter. Um, Thank you for supporting us. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it toward us. I'll do my best to see what I could do. But happy Easter again. Happy Easter to you, Malcolm.
Happy? Well, I have one last bit of administration. We have, not a bad feed, but you got to press those hearts before you go. We had 1,700 watchers here today, which is pretty good. I thought we'd have more. But for those of you who have not subscribed to Wajeeh or myself, press that little rondelle on the upper left-hand side next to live. It says Black Man Spy. It will pop up from the bottom. Press subscribe. I am still trying to get to 100,000 followers. Turns out the algorithm changes when you get to 100,000 followers. Norma Hunt asked about FARC real quick. Forward Arm Refuel Point. That's what the acronym stands for. One last thing. I got into it yesterday with somebody on the internet who's very well known about the discussion of academics and journalists suddenly miraculously writing about the three scenarios of which we could have combat in Iran. That is a airborne jump into Iran, a seizure of the Straits of Hormuz, or the seizure of Kaarsbo Islands. With that extra special touch that I gave about the potential of jumping into Iran instead of digging out that mountain, dropping in a tactical nuke. It has come to my attention a lot of journalists are writing about these three scenarios. And if most of you have been watching this for the last 30 days, you know that I've written, and other people on this who watch this podcast have written those scenarios for almost a month. Sometimes you should give credit where credit is due. I see people literally quoting my Substack and not quoting where it came from. So if you want us to continue talking about these things and you go to other podcasts, that's funny, Rose. You want to talk about us to other podcasts, pass the word around, right? If you're out there and you see, I see a lot of these podcasts, they bring on a lot of academics to talk about war and culture. And none of them are from the Middle East, and none of them have ever been in a war in the Middle East. Tell your friends, Black Man Spy Podcast, which is now #1 in politics, is the place where you should come and get your details, right? Because as I like to say, I am not an academic, even though I have written 10 books, 5 of which were New York Times bestsellers, including books about ISIS, Al Qaeda, and 4 on Donald Trump, which were all on the Times bestsellers list. But more importantly, Wajeeh, Jacob, and I have lived experience, and we call ourselves the practitioners of this. So if you haven't had an Iranian missile whiz by you, struck a mine, been attacked, have your family stuck in a war zone like Wajeeh's family, lived in that culture, you sort of lose something in the credibility department, and especially when you're out there. So that's why I'm talking on Al Jazeera, CNN International. I'm on Times Radio all the time. I was on BBC the other day because there is a factor of lived experience that outweighs some things. But I have had people come out and quote my own work to me and say, don't you think this is an awesome article that some journalist who, may have been watching this podcast said? I ain't saying that they did. I'm just saying coincidence takes a lot of planning. So give credit where credit is due. Spread the word about the Black Man Spy podcast, Wajeeh Alliance podcast, and Substack, because we do have that lived experience. And as you can see, you can learn a lot about culture, Islamic history, and who our opponents are. And somebody put up a picture of me as a rabbi. I'm sorry, I don't think I don't think that although I was offered Aliyah, I don't think that I'll be doing Aliyah to Israel anytime soon. But I love going to Israel. I love going through the old world, and I do have a novel of a spy who is involved in something that involves the Old Testament. All right. So when I just finished a fiction last year that we hope will come out, which is a fun, adventurous, rocking story that is likely to be turned into a Hollywood movie. This one is a very serious study where I will have to go to Israel and walk around the country. It'll be very interesting. Okay, guys, thank you for coming. Wajeeh, wallah, thank you so much for being here. I will find a fun
Thank you for
hat
having me.
because I'll be down in the man cave today, so I'll find a fun hat for tomorrow. Take care. We'll see you.
Have a good one. Thank you for having
Okay,
me. Have a
bye-bye.
good one.